I'm Ray Michaels, 105.1 The Bull, hanging out here at the Midnight Rodeo with Brent Cobb. Brother, thank you so much for taking the time.
Thank you for taking the time.
I really appreciate it. Songwriting is something that, as a music fan, I've always, man, I wish I could do that. It's really more of a talent. It's really a gift. How young were you when you wrote that first song, and when you I kind of got a knack for this?
I grew up in a musical family, so I was a kid. You know, I was walking around collecting rocks with my little sister. When I was 7, I wrote my first song about collecting rocks.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, I don't know. It was always treated as something that was as much of a trade as going to school for heating and air or something in my family. And so the moment I was probably 12 when I was writing real songs, and I thought, man, I didn't know how to do the logistics of it all worked,
right?
You know, but I knew that it was something that I could probably do someday.
Yeah, pretty amazing. Another thing too, it's probably going to maybe freak you out a little bit. I was raised by a grandmother. My parents divorced, and I lived in a little town here in the Ozarks, just about an hour north of here. And my grandmother was a Pentecostal preacher of the local pastor of the local church. Mm-hmm. Yeah, right. Yeah. So missing church, not an option. Right. Every Sunday morning, Sunday night, yes, Wednesday night, every night of the revival. Guess who was there? You know.
Gosh, I bet you probably got into trouble when you was a teenager.
Oh, I know, that's right. The preacher's kids and the preacher's grandkids, they're the worst, right?
That's the way it goes. Yeah, the devil works hard on you. You know?
I know, that's right. Well, I know the love of gospel music and your faith is really important to you, as it is to me. And I know it's a huge influence on you. Just tell us a little bit about that and how that means, and you've recorded some of that. Just tell us that story a little bit.
Yeah, I grew up Southern Baptist in Georgia, and none of my family was the actual preacher, but my granddaddy led the singing, you know, and
right.
It was a whole little family country church, and so I grew up singing I call it the Southern Baptist greatest hits, and so, you know, like Old Rugged Cross,
right.
And In the Garden, and all those songs. And so I knew, again, that someday if I were to ever make a career out of all of this, that I would for sure want to show where it came from, from not just me, not myself, but all of music. You know, it all comes from gospel.
Yeah, that's a beautiful thing, man.
And so that's what I did in, was that 2021?
Yeah.
I put that gospel album out, and we called it And Now Let's Turn to Page, ... which is what they do, you know.
Sounds familiar.
That's right. Yes, sir.
Wow, that is great. Well, congratulations on that. And you've wrote some songs for some pretty big stars, people they might have heard of, like Luke Bryan, Kenny Chesney, all this stuff. What was that like the first time maybe you were riding in your truck and you heard one of those songs that was recorded by one of these stars that you wrote on the radio, or maybe you saw them perform it live? That had to be pretty awesome. Tell us about it.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, for me especially, as all I've ever wanted to do was write songs. And the way that my career has gone, I say it's only taken me nearly 20 years to get to the bottom, and I'm just glad to be here. But I've had to do both. I tour and I write songs, and that is what I get the most fulfillment out of. And then when you get an artist like Miranda Lambert, you know, or Kenny Chesney's recorded a few of them. One of the first ones was Luke Bryan. He recorded a song called Tailgate Blues, and I was coming back from Billings, Montana. I'd opened for Josh Turner, so it was 2010 or 11 or somewhere around there. And Luke texted and asked if I had any songs that he could drink whiskey to, and I had just
probably so.
I had just recorded my first demo session of this first few batch of songs that I had wrote after I'd signed with this publisher, and so I said maybe. I didn't know how. I didn't even know what. I was like, I could drink whiskey to all of them.
Yeah,
so
right. I narrow it down.
Yeah, I sent him like 6 of them, and he recorded that Tailgate Blues, and. Yeah, I mean, it was exactly the way you think it'd be, you know, especially Luke. Luke's from right around where I'm from in Georgia, and he kind of is who talked me into moving to Nashville in the beginning. And not that I don't want to go crazy. I'll go off on a tangent here, but the first song I ever had recorded that I had written was had gospel connections.
Oh,
it was
nice.
One of the first songs I ever wrote. I wrote it in about 10 minutes. It was called Hold Me Closely. Wow. That I didn't know where it came from. And a couple of days later, my Nana passed away, my mother's mother. And, man, the Oak Ridge Boys recorded that in
Oh, my.
2008.
Oh, wow.
And
That's cool.
And they recorded at the old Hillbilly Central studio where the Outlaws,
Wow.
it was a really cool thing.
Yeah,
man.
no kidding. Well, you're killing me with all the coolness here, man.
Yeah.
Pretty awesome stuff.
I'm just glad to be here.
Well,
Yeah.
speaking of that, let's talk about you got some great records too that you've recorded. We don't have time to get into all of them, but let's talk about that latest, that Southern Star, obviously reference to home and the Southern Cross and all that goes with that. So, yeah, tell us a little bit about that album, and maybe you got a favorite song or two on that
Yep.
record.
Yeah, Southern Star, we recorded down in Capricorn in Macon, Georgia, which is right where I'm from. It's also where Otis Redding and the Allman Brothers and a bunch of
Yeah.
them, Little Richard. And
big stuff there.
Oh yeah. And so I just knew I had to make it called the Southern Star, and I just had this little batch of songs that came out. I loved the song Southern Star on Southern Star, and my wife wrote a song that I recorded that's called Patina on there that I also love. And Under the Shade Tree, Living the Dream, which is the title of this tour, I wrote with Josh Morningstar.
Oh, nice.
And I'm really proud of it. I used all local musicians. They say, when you get lost out there in the wilderness, if you just look for the Northern Star, it'll give you direction to get home. But
Right.
I'm from South Georgia, so I look for the Southern Star.
Right.
That's what it's about.
That's awesome. Well, congratulations on everything,
Thank you,
man.
sir.
We really appreciate you taking the time. And for the fans, they're obviously going to be here tonight. They're familiar with your stuff, but maybe there's some folks watching this video right now. They're not as familiar. Let's tell them where to find all this great music of yours, and also give them a nice Southern invitation.
Yeah, you can go to BrentCobbMusic.com. Hey, I got to mention, on Southern Star, my co-producer is Orrin Thornton, who is also from here, Springfield.
Yeah, right.
But
I knew the names as you
yeah,
said.
and I've known Orrin forever. We've worked
Wow.
for 15 years together. But anyway, you can find all my stuff on my website, BrentCobbMusic.com. You can type my name in on social media. Brent Cobb. That's two B's. You can think of it like Brent on the Cobb with two B's. And man, come on down.
Yeah.
We're just gonna pick and grin a little bit. I'm a songwriter singer, not a singer songwriter. I'm a songwriter first. So my singing isn't always perfect, but the songwriting will be real good.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And you're going to get by Bass Pro Shops while you're here too, right?
So I believe so. Yeah.
Got to, man. I mean, this is the world
That's what
headquarters
I
of
know.
Bass
Yeah.
Pro Shops.
Yeah, can't not do it.
And I think from here it's like maybe 2 miles.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, right down the road. So maybe we can run over there and look at some baits or something. What do you
Let's
say?
do it.
All right, man. Well, we're at the Midnight Rodeo. You need to be here tonight. I'm Ray Michaels. That guy's Brent Cobb. He's amazing. I'm just a radio guy, and on 105.1 The Bull.